Hey guys, and welcome to r/ShortScaryStories, where I read your stories and rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 spooky wookies, which is a very credible way of rating things, so I'm told. Anyway, our first story is brought to us again by the one, the only, the Queen of Horror, Hyper Obscura, and this one's called Marlon. Or Marlon. Yeah, I realise I just butchered that name. Marlon wasn't really his name, but we call him that anyway. He just had one of those faces, I guess. Long, thin, covered in oozing wounds, missing one nostril. You know that feeling when you slice off one of your nipples? Meeting Marlon for the first time was a lot like that. If Marlon could talk, it would be a raspy, unpleasant voice. Like maybe if you ran a cheese grater up and down the vocal cords. It would feel like writhing parasites in your ears or tiny maws hollowing out your skull. He sounds like a really, really nice person to meet, just gonna say. If it wasn't for Marlon though, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have pulled out my fingernails with my teeth. I wouldn't have let rats nibble at my open nipple wound just to feel something. I wouldn't have ripped the entrails out of the impossible fissure in my best friend's abdomen. But you can't escape Marlon. There were three of us. Marta, Kat, and me. We didn't want to meet Marlon, but he found us anyway. Crawled his way out of the sewers on broken arms and legs. Glass shards sticking out of his flesh like some kind of grotesque porcupine. He overwhelmed us from the very start. We cared for him like he was our very own repugnant baby. And in many ways, he was. He was tiny and slippery and black, like a baby. He wailed discordantly like a baby. He suckled the blood of our teeth just like a baby would. Marlon grew up fast. He was older than us within minutes. But his neck was still scrawny and weak, and couldn't support his overgrown head. He wheezed and snorted and oozed blood as the neck snapped, leaving the head resting in a 90-degree angle on his bony shoulders. "Let him have my insides," Marta suggested. We all agreed. That sounded like the most reasonable solution. I sliced open my best friend's abdomen with a pair of scissors I had in my backpack. They weren't made for cutting flesh though, so it took me quite a while. Marta didn't seem to care. She held that perfect smile throughout. Marlon devoured her entrails after I'd ripped them out of Marta, his black tongue slurping them up like thick slimy spaghetti. "And now me," Kat said. "He should have my heart." And so we carved open Kat's chest and gave Marlon her heart. It was the right thing to do. "And me?" I asked him, but he never answered. He left me there, incomplete, and I felt nothing no more. Soon, I joined my dead friends in the darkness and the rot, and the rats of the sewers, slicing off my own nipple, inserting thin glass shards between my skin, but there was no more feeling. I crawled out on broken arms and legs. "Look," a girl's voice suddenly called. "Look at that." "What is it?" another girl inquired. "I don't know," a third one joined in, "but we should call it Marlon." Marlon, not Marlon. Yeah, I'm just going to keep butchering that, I think. That was a good story. It was a ring, it was a loop of horrors. So yeah, imagine thinking that a good idea is to use some scissors to cut open your best friend's stomach and throw their entrails into something that that's not creepy at all, is it? I was obviously being sarcastic there. I'm pretty creeped out at that. That's again Hyper Obscura. You have smashed it. I'm giving that one a 4 out of 5 spooky wookies because I never want to see anything like that crawling out of the sewers. No thank you. So our next story is called 5 More Minutes, and this is by user Elizabeth_00. When I was just a little kid, and Mum sent me to bed, I asked for 5 more minutes to watch TV. As a teenager, I pleaded with my dad for 5 more minutes at that party in high school. I just wanted 5 more minutes before I had to get out of bed. I kept asking for those few extra moments. 5 more minutes before I started my homework because my favourite cartoon's on. 5 more minutes to hang with my friends because Jeremy's leaving on holiday in 2 weeks. 5 more minutes in the pool because this may be the last hot day of summer. 5 more minutes to prepare for my driving test because I need to take a breath and calm down. 5 more minutes of doing the dishes. I swear I'll do it after I hang up the phone. 5 more minutes to kiss my first love because it's so hard to stop now that I've started. 5 more minutes to finish my college exam. I can't fail on this one. My mum would be so disappointed. 5 more minutes before that job interview. I just need to breathe and be confident. 5 more minutes to finish that presentation. I just have to go over the bullet points so I can impress my boss. Those minutes seemed so important back then. Sometimes it felt like a matter of life and death. But now that blood is seeping through my hands. Now that all I can see is your evil grin. All I want are those 5 minutes. I just need 5 more minutes. Please give me those 5 more minutes to say goodbye. So, this story, I think it relates to probably a lot of people. I know when I was a teenager it was 5 more minutes left in bed. Just 5 more minutes before I set off on whatever journey that I'm going on to meet my friends. Just 5 more minutes to stay there while I'm there, it really relates to me, this story, and I think it probably relates to a lot of you guys, but no, I think that's really good. So, realistically, the character in this story has wasted their life over these 5 minutes, and they'd take back all those moments if they could just get 5 minutes before dying. It's more sad than creepy or spooky, but I'm going to give it a 3 on Spooky Wookies just because it really hit home, that. So, the moral of the story is, grab life by the horns and don't wait 5 minutes. The next post is by user Amontilados Heart, and I've probably butchered that as well. It's called, If You See This, Please Read. All in capital letters as well. I remember it like it was yesterday, because for all intents and purposes, it was. After a fun night of getting a little drunk, a little high, and a little too open with a group of friends, I was stumbling home to my apartment around 2 AM. The streets were deserted, though I didn't think much of it given the suburbanity and strict COVID curfews in my city. It did strike me as a little odd that there wasn't a single other soul on the street. Not even the skunks I had to dodge from sidewalk to sidewalk. But I was simply too smashed to care. Like any good night ends, I unlocked my apartment door and passed out in the comfort of my own bed. Last thing I remember before clocking out was the glow of my phone screen. 2:16 AM. It was the most restful sleep I had ever had, and yet, when I woke up the next morning, it was still 2:16 AM. Obviously, I'd sobered up, and obviously I went through all the stages you would have too. I panicked, I took deep breaths and thought out my next steps logically. I gathered supplies and explored. I experimented. I experimented with staying awake, with leaving messages around for potential company, with occultist books from my local library. No matter what I did, no matter what I tried, and I did try everything, it always stays 2:16 AM. 2:16 AM, no one else around. Food doesn't spoil, electricity still runs, internet access is random and sporadic, but I'm always checking to try and get the word out to others. So far, no success. By my count, going off of my own sleep schedule. It should be January. It should be snowy, and the trees should be bare. But instead, it's humid and green, just like it was that summer night I stumbled home. If anyone sees this, and if anyone cares, please help me. Consult a physicist, a magician, a bloody priest if that's what it takes. Just please make it so I wake up the next morning somewhere else. Anywhere but here. My name is April Beth Hackett. I was 20 when I walked home from my friend's place, but I should be 21 now. I'm 5'4", brown eyes, short brown hair. Remember me. Ooh. That one's... I think this is a story about someone in a coma. I don't know whether I'm right, but that would make sense. Obviously, they're not actually getting up and walking around, but maybe they got too smashed up and maybe they got hit by a car or, you know, something like that when they were walking home. That's an interesting one. I'm just having a look through the comments, but I can't really see anything that really tells me, but that is pretty spooky anyway, regardless whether it's coma or that's physically happening. Obviously, they've got the message out now, so they should be alright, hopefully. But I don't know any physicists or magicians or priests, so sorry. I'm going to give that one a 4 out of 5. God, I'm really tight with that 5 out of 5, aren't I? It's a good one, and it does make me think different things to this story, like what's happening to the character, but yeah, 4 out of 5. That was good. It was good though. So thank you once again for listening to the latest in my r/short scary stories, this series where I read Reddit users' posts and pass it off as content of my own. So if you are listening to this and you do enjoy this, please go ahead and leave an upvote on the links in the description to the stories, because without their stories I wouldn't be doing this video. Yeah, that's how far my entertainment's come, really. So thank you once again. Don't forget to check out the podcast that was uploaded the other day. It's all about astral projection or out of body experience, and I've had a couple of people since then message me trying to tell me about their experiences and how they've gone through it, and trying to give me ways to do it myself. I'm not really that bothered about trying it myself. I may do, but yeah, I'm too busy. But no, don't forget to check that out, and take care.